Good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of Make Some Noise. And tonight, we're very lucky that we could make some noise, because I just got out of hospital, actually. True story. So, another story for another day. But tonight, we have some female artists from around Australia, and they're going to tell us their story about why they play original music and how they make a living from it. We're also going to understand how they do. Veronica's already saying hello. Hey, Veronica. And how and why they do what they do. So this is good because we have artists at all different levels, international, state, and local. So here we are. We might get the guests to come on straight away. And before I do that, make sure you like and subscribe. And all the artists that are here, please like and subscribe all their pages. Need to support the arts. So here we go. And we get all of them on right now. So hello. And we got one more there. Anne, how are you all?
Hey.
Hi.
Hey,
Hey guys.
Hey.
Oh yeah.
We might start with Licia to do the intro. So here we go. Here, Licia. You want to maybe say where you're from and what you do?
Yeah. Hi, my name's Licia, and I am currently in Queensland, Australia. I've been playing guitar live for about 15 years. I did a Bachelor of Popular Music with honours before I began my live career 15 years ago. I've played internationally and nationally. I had a song that was #1 on the Unearthed Triple J charts for a few years ago. I've played on stages alongside bands such as the Baby Animals, Phil Emmanuel, James Morrison, Grinspoon, Killing Heidi,
Wow.
Shannon Knoll. Yes, I've played in Europe every year for the last 8 years, and I recorded some stuff in Nashville last year. And I play music and occasionally do a bit of music teaching, but I play gigs. And
I think you forgot one word, which was legend. Wow.
Oh, that's not on there. No, sorry.
Okay, and thank you. What an awesome intro. Next we have Cheryl. So here we go, Cheryl. How you going, Cheryl?
Hey, good Doug. There, I'm Cheryl Hall, and I'm just a local musician. I always have been, just played local everywhere. I started out in Sydney in the 80s with my own band back then, and I've moved all over the country, all over Australia, mainly the east coast of Australia. I've played in Hervey Bay, Bundaberg, Port Macquarie. I'm currently reside in Port Macquarie. And yeah, I write my own stuff. I need to probably need to record it, but I just never got around to doing it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very good. Well, nice to have you on the show. And next we have Vanessa. Vanessa, here we go, Vanessa.
Hey, how you going, everybody? I'm very well, thank you. Excellent. Nice to be joining in tonight, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm currently up here in Gympie in Queensland. I originally was from the mid-north coast down in a town called Maxwell, which is pretty close to where Cheryl is down there. And I've been singing for a lot of years and have sung in many bands, duos and solo things all over the place. And yeah, just loving it. It's great. So had a bit of a break, but I've come back. So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And then we're going to go straight to Anne. Nice to have you on the show too. Anne, here we go. Hello,
Hi,
Anne.
guys. Thank you. Hi, Doug. Thanks so much. And yeah, thank you for having me as well. Well, I'm from Port Macquarie as well, so Cheryl and I know each other quite well. I've started music when I was about 14. I've been writing, and I met my husband when he was a bass player in a band, and I auditioned as a singer. And 30 odd years later, we've just playing music. So I know,
classic
right?
story.
It's funny. I sort of take it for granted, and I tell people like, "Oh my God, that's amazing." I don't know. It's just what we did. And so we played around the Newcastle tracks for a while in a band, and we played at our wedding. That was a bit of fun. And we gave it a bit of a rest when we had kids. And we got back into it in a duo sense and playing some original music and covers and doing the port circuit. Haven't really travelled too much, sort of kept it a bit homely, but looking forward to getting into some more sort of recording and putting it out there. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. And last but not least, we have Fiona. Fiona, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Well,
Hi, everybody.
I'm here, so that's a good thing.
That's very, very good, mate. I'm Fiona Boys. I'm currently living in Yamba in northern New South Wales. I grew up in Melbourne. I didn't start playing until I was sort of in my late 20s. And I started playing essentially because I was so passionate about blues music. I was a huge fan of the music, and I had an opportunity I just leapt in. So started off as a solo acoustic fingerpicker in coffee shops, had a chance to join a band. So we formed a band, an all-girl band called the Mojos in Melbourne, which was an electric band. So then I got onto electric guitar. Then I evolved a bit more over the years. I'm actually just in the process of doing a re-release of my first solo album. I think I've got about 13 or 14 releases under my own name.
That's amazing.
3 recorded in Austin, Texas. 1 audiophile acoustic album that I recorded at Skywalker Ranch in California.
Wow, that's cool.
Yes, and if you've ever seen that episode of where people get into the Checkpoint Charlie of Skywalker Ranch, it really is like that. Because that, of course, is the space where George Lucas built that studio to record all the soundtrack stuff for the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing.
I had the opportunity of representing the Melbourne Blues Appreciation Society in a competition in Memphis in 2003 called the International Blues Challenge, and I ended up winning it, which made me the first non-American and the first woman to win. And since then, I've been touring regularly in America and Europe. I've had 8 nominations in the Blues Music Awards in America, and I'm the only Australian blues musician who's been honoured that way. So I've been busy, and why do I do it? And I play mostly original music, and it's all very much based in the blues tradition. And I started out because I was a fan of the music, and I'm still passionate about it. I'm still exploring it.
That's amazing. Wow. That's sensational. Well, I don't know what to say after that. So thank you very much. Good night. Well, so this is cool. Yeah, well, thank you for coming on and doing the intro. So I guess, and thank you for all the listeners. So make sure all the listeners, please, if you have any questions, this is totally interactive. Please post a question. We'll get the panel to discuss. So the first question I have is, what motivated you to do what you do? So maybe Cheryl, do you want to maybe elaborate on that?
What motivated me? Good question. I just fell into it. It wasn't something that I planned on doing, actually. I just fell into it. I really, really liked it, so I stuck with it. I've been playing since I was about 14, and I like all music. Always wanted to play jazz. Always said to everybody, one day I'm going to grow up and be a jazz musician. I've achieved that, and I've moved on. I'm playing just about everything and anything now. I like my country as well. It's all good.
Oh, very good, very good. And we might go to Anne here. Anne?
Hi.
So I think there's a TV on in the background there. I had to just mute you there.
No, I turned that off, but that's all cool. What motivated me? I'm a little bit like Cheryl, actually. I started probably when I was 13, 14, and actually it was a friend of mine called Cheryl, funnily enough, and she was a friend of my sister's, and she had an acoustic guitar, and she just played a few sort of basic chords, and I just fell in love with it and started playing. She showed me some stuff, and I started playing and took off from there. And I wrote a lot of sort of really emotional sort of songs when you're at that age as a young girl. If I listen back to them now, I would absolutely cringe. I've still got copies of them, funnily enough, and they just sound horrific. But and then just I don't know, it sort of came in stages, and then listened to some different genres, and I love, like Fiona does the blues. I absolutely love the blues stuff, and I'm sort of stepping into that territory now. So I really love the different genres and what they can give you, not being stuck in one facet, you know what I mean? Just trying out different things, and maybe a bit of reggae and a bit of this and that, and just start going from there.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And Vanessa, what motivated you to be a rock star?
Well, I don't know if I could call myself a rock star, but I started at a very young age when I was in the Salvation Army, when I went to church, and we had a choir, if you call it that. It was called the Singing Company, and I started singing from about the age of 5, and just progressed from there. Like, loved it. That was pretty much the only thing I ever wanted to do. Left school and thought, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I went and applied for a band down in Port Macquarie, didn't tell mum and dad, and auditioned for them. Came home and said to them, I'm moving to Port Macquarie, I've just joined a band. And they went, oh no, like you can't do that. Like, what are you doing? So, and it just grew from there. And, you know, I grew up with country music. My passion is country music. And I've sort of moved into more of, you know, I love doing what I do, but I also love promoting the great artists out there as well that are out there, you know, giving it all and just doing great music. You know, I had a break with when I had my children and when I was in the police force, but I've come back. So, yeah, so there you go.
Name drop. Wow. Wow. So I guess you're pretty good at your own crowd control then.
Well, it's, yeah, there's a few moves that I've learnt on stage to keep the audiences back. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's inspiring. That's inspiring. I second that. Okay, cool. And this is for you, Vanessa. Someone saying hello to you.
Hey guys,
Mr.
I'm trying to watch the comments. Hey Rocket Rod, thank you. Nice to see you on.
And so we go to Licia. What motivated you to play guitar? Maybe I should say before you answer that, I met Licia maybe 20 years ago at Bunnings. I think that was a long time ago, of all places. But you're a sensational guitarist. I've been to many jam nights, and when you play, you know, a lot of dudes have their jaws on the ground, like, whoa, you should see that girl play. So, yeah. But anyway, I'm a fan.
Oh, thanks for that. Thank you. Yeah. Bunnings got me through university, so thank you, Bunnings. Still got a hedge trimmer somewhere. Mum's stoked. Yeah, you know when you meet people at work, they're like, "Yeah, I'm a musician too." You're like, "Yeah, whatever." But Doug was actually like a full shredding guitar player, and I attempted to jam with you, but yeah, that was a long time ago. I think I'm a bit more ready now.
Okay,
Actually,
cool.
I don't think I'm ever ready to jam with you.
Don't be like.
Anyway.
So, what motivated you?
Yeah, well, I'm curious to join Vanessa's band for the safety reasons, but I might audition for your band. I started playing guitar at about 13. My older sister had a Les Paul copy, and it was like a cherry red Les Paul copy, Magnum, and it just looked and sounded really cool. And my stepdad knew about 4 songs, so he would play them over and over, and I ended up playing the guitar a bit more than my sister. So that, and then he showed me like Led Zeppelin and Jimi Hendrix and Woodstock, and so then that got me hooked. And then I went to uni and did a Bachelor of Popular Music. So we had 24-hour access to studios, and we could play with other students whenever you were there. I didn't learn that much, but I learned some stuff.
So was that on the Gold? That was on the Gold Coast, right? The Bachelor of Popular Music.
That's right. Yeah. Which is kind of. I think that they're closing down the Gold Coast one now. So
moved it to Brisbane. Yeah.
But I played all sorts of styles. But went blues rock later.
You found the light. And Fiona, what motivated you to be such a legend on the international legend on the guitar?
Well, as I said, I started out falling in love with the blues music. So, at that point, that was when I got to college. I was actually studying graphic design, and I worked as a designer in advertising and publishing. And actually, I worked. My last actual job was for Lonely Planet. I used to work for Lonely Planet.
Superman
guidebooks.
Superman, Lonely Planet.
Lonely Planet guidebooks. That was my last gig as an artist.
Oh no, Daily Planet, not Lonely Planet.
Daily Planet, yeah. But yeah, I know. I was trying to go with you there, but I was getting lost. Anyway, I was just a huge fan of blues, and I was going to see a lot of blues acts. And at that time, there was a lot of music in Melbourne, a lot of blues most nights of the week. So I was going there, and really, I got started. I had fledgling abilities. I was very influenced by Dutch Tilders, who is considered Melbourne, Australia's sort of godfather of the blues, who was a finger picking style player who did a lot of his own stuff, but also a lot of stuff in a Big Bill Broonzy is probably the closest kind of style. And he was a huge influence on me because I was listening to the music on old albums and bootleg cassettes, but he was the first musician I saw live in a venue up close where you could. I went, wow, if I knew I could play this music. So I started out actually at an open mic night in a cafe. And that's how I got my first guitar, because at that point, it was a coffee shop that was way across town, and I didn't have a car or a guitar, so I borrowed both and drove across town, and then I figured, well, I have to take the guitar in because I can't leave it in the car because it might get stolen. It's not mine. So then I went in. I was so dreadfully nervous because I'm self-taught and I didn't know much. And so, of course, they got me up to play, and then I ended out at the end of the night having not died of nervous. I really thought I was going to have a heart attack and someone would have to give me a heart massage in the front row. But I survived. And what ended up happening was that the guys who ran the cafe said, okay, well, you've won tonight, so come back in 3 weeks' time because we're having a playoff. And what I didn't know was that the coffee shop open night was doing a competition as a talent encouragement prize, and you could win a Maton guitar. And that is actually, when the final came around, you got to play one song each. They lined 12 people up from 12 weeks. You got one song.
Wow.
And that's actually how I got my first guitar. And I am still a Maton player. And now I'm endorsed by them, but I've played them over the years, yeah.
You're a Maton endorsee. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Fantastic.
But that's how I got my first. Every time I go back there, when I go back home to Melbourne and I go to the factory to catch up, and I'll say, you know what, everything that I've done, it's your fault, because it was a talent encouragement prize and you encouraged me. And then after that, I started going out and playing in cafes, and then I got a chance to join a band, and then and so it went. Yeah.
Amazing story. So talking about guitars, is everyone a guitar player? Am I assuming right?
Yeah.
So
hey, cigar boxes.
Yes. Yes. Well, before we get to cigar boxes, I have a question for you. This can be a simple yes or no answer. To pink guitar or not to pink guitar? Or actually, do you own one? So maybe Cheryl, do you own a pink guitar?
I wouldn't own one if they're the last ones on it.
Licia, pink guitars?
No pink guitars here.
Would you buy one?
Probably not.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't know.
But you never know.
I bought one for my daughter. So I can say yes, but it was for my daughter. She was 14 and she absolutely loved it. She didn't love it because it was a guitar. She just loved it because it was pink.
Right. So you can take photos with it on Instagram.
Oh, my lip wasn't pink though.
Vanessa, pink guitar. You probably get a blue guitar, right?
Well, yes, I could, but no pink guitars here for me. No, my favorite color actually is blue. So, but no blue guitars either. So, yeah, no.
I have a blue.
Fiona, any pink guitars?
No, I have a wonderful girl cave of guitars, but pink.
Girl cave, I love.
I have. Like in here, I am the envy of some of the blokes, and I'm actually really lucky. Yes, and someone just said that you loved that I was inspired by Dutch. I see a comment there, and
yeah, that's great.
Dutch was a huge influence, and I've got to say that he actually, I think, as much as anyone, probably more than a lot of people, because he's a finger picker. He was a finger picker, and I am a finger picker. I don't use a plectrum. He was a great influence on me. But yeah, I've got a beautiful sparkle blue telly. I've got a lot of different cigar boxes. I mostly favour, wood finish guitars. But
well, that was my next question. What's your favourite? What's your favourite one then?
You know
we'll
what?
Go back around.
I love a lot of my cigar boxes. I'm really enjoying at the moment, and so I've got a bunch of those. But if I had to just take one guitar with me at the moment on tour, my absolute favourite is an electric Maton Master Sound. Sadly, then it's actually, let me pick it up, show you. There it is.
Okay, let me zoom in. Here we go. There it is. Oh wow!
Now, in there, even though it's kind of a bit dull, you can see this silver thing here. Oh, I should go the other way. There you go. That silver thing there, that is actually an American silver dollar. And I had that set. I had that. It's a 936 American silver dollar. And my husband bought it for me as a souvenir after our first trip to America to play.
Wow.
And
Amazing.
I had that set into my guitar in honor of Memphis Minnie, the great foundational female blues guitarist.
Wow.
From the
That's
40s and 50s, because she famously wore a silver dollar bracelet in a lot of her publicity photos. And and I had a song about her. And there's
It's
so
so graphic.
few women blues guitarists, so that's my nod to Minnie right here.
Oh, wow.
My favourite guitar.
Graphic
cool.
designer coming out. That's good. And Vanessa,
Yeah.
your favorite guitar?
Well, look, I'm a self-taught guitarist, so I don't really have that many. My other half, on the other hand, has about 20. Don't ask me what they are, but anyway, my favourite is my my Takamine that I got for New Year's Eve last year, 2 years ago, as a Christmas present,
Thanks,
and
Catherine.
it's beautiful. Love it.
Awesome. And Anne, your favorite guitar color?
It's really hard. It's like asking to pick your favourite child, isn't it?
Okay, favorite child.
Favourite child. Okay, I hope no one's listening. All my guitars. I don't know. It's different for the different applications I do. So if I play acoustic, I've got a great Cole Clark FL3, which I absolutely love. Had
Fat
that for
lady,
2
yeah.
years, and it just sounds so nice when you record with it. My husband bought me a PRS a couple of years ago, and
Ah, cool.
just the bomb. I play it through a Marshall amp, and it sounds so good. And but I just bought a Tele Acoustasonic guitar, which is really lovely as well. It's got a really nice tone. It's got the pickups, and it's really easy to play. It's got a nice light neck. It's super light. It's only about 6 kilos or something like that. So
Well,
I really love playing that. And I do the duo as well. So yeah, there's a few, but yeah, I can't pick a favourite. It's not fair.
and that's fair enough. And Cheryl, favorite guitar?
Oh, I got favourite acoustic is my Takamine, but I have a handmade one here, made in Port
Yeah.
Macquarie by Jim Newman.
Can we
That's
have a look at it?
beautiful.
Can we have a look at it?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry, I probably should have prepared that one. Oh, she's got a white Strat in the background. That's good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Wow, I'll just zoom
Sorry,
in for
guys.
you. I'll just zoom in. Sorry, no. There we go. I'll just zoom in. There we go. Oh, cool.
Just take a
Beautiful sound, beautiful to play. Made by Jim Newman.
Custom made.
Right here in Port Macquarie.
Yeah,
and I love it.
Excellent.
It holds its own with the Takamine that I've got.
Excellent.
Takamine with the cool tube, as they call it. And then the next favourite is the Strat behind me.
That's a. Well, I know them.
1956 Strat.
Oh wow!
Copy.
All right,
Yeah,
copy.
can't copy,
Yeah, right.
I couldn't afford
got
the
a,
real thing.
I got a. Being a Hendrix fan, I never knew why.
Yeah, me too.
Malmsteen played a white guitar. Steve Vai plays a white guitar. Who else plays a white guitar? Paul Gilbert played a white guitar, and they all, because they're all Hendrix fans, he played a white guitar.
I play Jimmy.
Yeah.
I love Jimmy.
Yeah.
I play his stuff.
So that Strat you've got there is I call it a blonde on blonde. And anyway, I finally got a 50th anniversary. It's the only Strat I've not modified. It's just completely stock standard. Yeah, very good. That's awesome. And Licia, your favourite colour of guitar?
My favourite colour?
Maybe actual guitar.
Yeah. I am finally a Gibson owner as of about 4 years ago. So I really love my Les Paul, and I've got a Howard Roberts Fusion hollow body. Would you like to see it?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
okay, I'm going to put this down. Hold on a minute.
Yeah, no problem. We're not going anywhere. You'll have to. Sorry, probably should have framed those questions. And anyone who's watching, hopefully there's lots of people watching actually. So please like and subscribe all the artists. And also, if you have any questions, please type the questions up. It's completely interactive. If you have something really cool and pertinent about being original female artist, please ask. Wow, I'll just here we go. We have a question. Does anyone have any original art on their guitars? If anyone wants a guitar pimp with my
I'll be
artwork,
too
please.
soon.
That's a
My
good
mum's
question.
an artist as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. I'll zoom in, Licia.
Oh, nice.
Mirrored. It's mirrored.
Oh yes, of course.
So I first played one of these in Spain. One of my favorite guitar players, Orlando Bonzi, had one, and I played it, and it was just like butter in my hands. So I found one in Hong Kong and ended up getting that. So that is probably my number one. But I must say, I really love. I'm finally a Les Paul owner as well. I bought this secondhand last year.
Cherry burst.
And it's just, I love it. I also have a Paul Reed Smith, which I paid off over 6 months when I just got out of uni and played in Dubai. And Yeah, I still play that, but it's in the cupboard a little bit more now because I've got.
Well,
and
that's
few
the things
others.
when you have more guitars. You know, what do you do? And Anne, you've got your guitar out.
Oh, I've just got to show you this. Okay, it's. Where are we?
And Vanessa, you may as well get one as well. Your blue guitar. I'll just zoom in.
Yeah.
Here,
Can you
here
see
you go.
that guitar?
Can you go
Yeah.
grab
Oh wow,
my guitar?
Chris Cheney, Living End.
Chris Cheney. Yeah, cool.
Oh, sweet.
And
Love him.
the boys played down at Laurelton at the Lusk, and we were lucky enough to get drawn out of a prize thing to meet them backstage. So the cool thing about that was there was about 10 of us, I guess, and we were there backstage with the boys, and we listened to a sound check. It sounded amazing. And then they had posters that they could sign, and we got a double bass, great big white double bass, and
Awesome.
we took the instruments in with them. We thought, well, they don't have to sign posters, they can sign the instruments. So
Wow.
we said, Chris, would you mind if we brought the instruments
What's
in
that?
so you sign them? And he was really good about it. And he was so careful. I can't really show you the double bass. It's in a completely different room.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool.
And it's got all the boys. It's got the Living End logo on it. And, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm a fan of Living End. Back in the day, I did some little support shows with the Living End. I was playing guitar, but I'll just cross over to Vanessa. I'll zoom in on. Do you have any sirens on that one?
No, this is the new one, so it's a brand new little baby. It has nothing on it yet, no sirens, no nothing. So yeah, all good.
Awesome.
Sorry, I just had to run to the other room because I'm doing a live video straight after this. So I'm all set up in there. So I just
Oh, I'm
had to
sorry.
get it.
Sorry.
All good, all good.
Okay, awesome. And I'll just bring you back there. Whoop, that's Licia. Sorry, I've pressed one job and I pressed the wrong button. There we go. And I have a question here for Fiona.
Yes.
Tell us about the Hall of Fame. So, and what does that mean? And has that contributed to your career?
Okay, well, I'm going to guess that that might be the only thing that's coming to mind is I did play at the Blues Hall of Fame induction dinner in Memphis, in America, the
Just,
year that I
name drop.
and
Wow.
well, look, it was so amazing for me because I had that was a matter of months after I'd won the International Blues Challenge, and I had and that trip to Memphis was my first ever trip to America because I ended out always wanting to go to I'll get to that. I always wanted to go to America because it's the home of the blues, but by that stage I was a musician with no other form of income apart from playing music, so I was broke. So I got to a ticket bought for me by the Blues Society to go in the competition. When I won it, then they gave me part of my prize of winning was to play some gigs and some key events in America and go back and tour. So I got back and immediately, all
Hey, Greg.
just threw caution to the wind. And, we just sold a bunch of things, and my husband and I just got one-way tickets to America for 3 months and gave it hell. But yeah, and it's actually a very funny story about the Hall of Fame because that year, for that event, I was the only musician playing, and it was like a little sort of cocktail party with just like a little stage and me playing acoustic, and Solomon Burke was there, and Ruth Brown was in the front row, and I met a whole lot of my heroes, really. And Solomon Burke was the bishop of his own black church, and I'm married to an Anglican priest, even though I play the devil's music.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh, but yeah, right.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
wow.
So we were having this. So while I was on stage, I had this gig. I had this song at the time, which was called "The Preacher and the Yellow-Haired Gal," and the song was like a ragtime song, which was the refrain was, "There ain't nothing but a yellow-haired gal make a preacher lay his Bible down." And it was a traditional sexual bragging song, blues song. Anyway, while I was singing this song, I looked across the audience and I saw Solomon Burke, the great blues soul singer who was the bishop of his own black church. And as I was looking across, I thought, I wonder if this song is offending him. But anyway, and at that moment, as I thought that, our eyes locked across the room, and in that second, the PA blew up. So I think some people do have a direct line to God because he's really clear.
Wow.
And, there's a lot of other stories about that.
Well, we should actually. I think that's a good one. If we go around and maybe tell us if everyone's got a gig fail story. Cheryl, do you want to go first?
And
Oh,
by the
actually,
way,
no, you go.
I was just going to say, by the way, for Veronica who asked about having your own artwork, that's my new cigar box, which I've just painted. It's
That's amazing.
It's a tenner. So,
It's got lipsticks on it.
yeah,
Lipstick
sounds
pickups.
great. Sounds great. I haven't done a full road test on it yet, but that'll be coming soon.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's sensational. My uncle's in an army, man. He taught me as well. That'll love it. Excellent. So Cheryl, a rock and roll story happened on the road.
Rock and roll story. Well, I was playing in a rock band in Sydney back in the late 80s, and we were doing a gig at the Vauxhall Inn. You remember the old Vauxhall Inn just there, Parramatta Road, corner of Woodville Road and Parramatta Road?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it was a big venue back in the day, and we got a gig there, and we were playing it, and we started the second set, and my rhythm player walked up to the microphone, and we'd been really hammered by real strange events all night, like the whole night. And the rhythm player walks up to the mic and he starts to sing. And the microphone just jumped, like somebody grabbed it and just dropped it on the ground next to him. It was like it just got out of the microphone stand, and he broke his false teeth straight through the middle as well, because it sort of bumped him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it was a ghost in the machine. Microphone machine. Microphone ghost.
Yeah,
Karaoke ghost.
Yeah.
The old karaoke ghost.
And what about Anne? Do you have a rock and roll story? It's maybe funny or embarrassing or something like that?
Embarrassing and funny, I guess. But yeah, the only one I can that's sort of coming straight to mind is when I first sort of started playing electric guitar, and I bought a Fender. It's a Bonnie Raitt Strat.
Wow.
Bonnie Raitt signature model. It's a beautiful guitar. It's probably all of my favourites. One of my favourite guitars as well. Don't tell the others. But we did a gig in Clarence Town in Newcastle, and I've been watching the boys play for years, and when I was in a band for a while with my husband, and I had two guitarists, and they were competing with each other with guitars, and it was all so cool. And eventually, I wanted to do that, so I had that opportunity, and I'm up there on the stage, and I'm playing away, and I broke a string. I was so excited. I broke a string. Oh my God, I broke a string. Look, I broke a string. I can do it. I can break a string. And then I went, I've broken a string. Like, this is not good. And then realised the whole effort you have to go to. But I was excited at the time. I thought, okay, I've made it. I've broken a string. That's the only one I can think of. I'm sure there's others.
I don't know. I know some of the people out interstate. Have you heard of the Indy race down the Gold Coast? You know, where they have the Indy cars. Hey Dom, there you go. So I played there actually quite a few times when Indy was on. Anyway, they had a new venue operator, so I was playing the main beer garden as a few other acts. Oh no, actually we had the host there. Anyway, we did Macintosh Island where they had the pits, and all of a sudden the next year we got sacked, and they said, because they had someone else on there. Anyway, I rang up the venue operators and I said, hello, I am the band and I'm just checking the details. So I bluffed my way back in. It was really funny. And anyway, this was circa 2008, I think it was. And anyway, we get there. No one knew I was coming. So I just brought the PA, set it up. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. Well, and then someone else rocked up and they sent them away. And they said, no, the band's here. Anyway, the funny part, that wasn't the funny part. The funny part was, does everyone know what an Apache helicopter is? An Apache helicopter? The Army flew the Apache helicopter over the crowd. I mean, these days I'd be arrested. But it was insane. Actually, I think I've got some footage of it. And that was a crazy gig. The dude I was playing Thunderstruck, being a hero, and, hanging off. I was actually swinging off the amps and stuff. And the PA trying to be a hero. Anyway, they came down and started swinging the machine gun around to, dance in time. I was like, whoa. Anyway, that was my rock and roll story. But Vanessa, your rock and roll story, you probably got some good crowd control stories.
Oh, yeah, well, I do have some crowd control stories, but when I, one that sticks out to me the most is when I came out of when I was in the police academy, they give you options to where you want to go to. I wanted to go to Tamworth, right or wrong, being a country girl. I wanted to go to Tamworth because I'd never been to Tamworth to sing, perform, do anything. So I went, right. So I got my posting. My first posting was to Tamworth. I went, you beauty. So I came out of the academy and I was straight into country music, in January. So I'm walking down the street in uniform because we never had time off then because to do anything. And my old band, who I grew up singing with, the Salvo Country Band, was always playing outside of Target. Every year they played outside Target. And so they were playing. So I'm walking along in uniform and came across them, and it was early of the morning and there was not very many crowds around. And so they said, come and sing a song with us. And I went, no. I said, I can't, because no one at the station knew that I actually sang at that point of time. So I went, no, I better not. And they said, no, just one song. And I said to my partner, I said, right, if there's a double beeper happening, you need to run over and grab me by the hair and we're off, So I jumped up and I thought, right, I'll do one song. So by the first chorus, the street was packed. I don't know, people were on their phones, and it was like, I am going to get in so much trouble, seriously, so much trouble. But so I ended up doing 2 songs. I walked around the corner back to the station, and the sergeant's there going, well, I believe we have a singer on our hands. Do you know it? News travels quick in a small town. So
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, so that was quite funny.
Did you get the footage as well?
Well, no, I didn't get the footage, but then I was commissioned to be the entertainment guru for the New South Wales Police Force in Tamworth, and I actually had to get in the back of the paddy wagon with Mike Myers one night, and it was funny. Had to get out, I was like, yeah, what do I get myself into? So
That's an amazing
fun.
story.
That's
Yeah.
And Licia, rock and roll story?
I'm trying to pick either between a mafia wedding in Calabria or gear failure at important gigs, or getting ripped off in Germany. I'm tempted to go with getting ripped off in Germany.
Oh, the mafia one sounds good. Whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Don't, they're everywhere. Don't do that.
What mafia?
Oh yeah, good point. Okay, back to Germany.
Okay. They're even in Germany. Watch out. Were you at that same one, Fiona?
I've played in Sicily.
No.
Right.
I didn't get paid.
Nice. Oh, we'll have to continue that chat later. Well, let's see. I was playing bass in a band called Trainwreck a few years ago, and I met them at Tamworth Country Music Festival as well. Mafia. Sorry, I've started the next story, Gernot. I'll tell the Mafia story. Maybe at tomorrow's live stream from this day. Oh, how's that? Sorry. So I was playing bass in a band called Trainwreck in Germany, and there was about 6 of us crammed into a little caravan. We had all our suitcases and driving for hours and hours to get to this gig in Hamburg. And, you're really tired. You don't know where all your stuff is. You go to this cheap motel, you throw all your stuff in the cheap motel, you head down to the venue to do a sound check. So you're there for a while doing a sound check. And then you can have a break and go and eat some food or whatever. And all in that time, I didn't realize that I've left all my tour cash in the caravan. And these guys have been joking about this place being called, what do they call it? Heroin Valley or something.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, something
Sounds
very
nice.
negative. And I forgot to, sounds lovely. I play in all the best places. I didn't realize I'd left all my tour cash in the caravan that whole time, and some other things like phones, and then just as the gig was starting, the lead singer came up and said, "Oh, guys, I'm really sorry, but our caravan's been broken into, and it looks like they had a really good go at your bag, Licia." And it was just moments before I just remembered, I forgot to move it from that bag to this bag, from this bag to that, and basically they stole everything. I had a lot of tour cash on me at that time. Over $1,000 or something, which I just happened to have. I was going to be paying someone some money for flights and blah blah blah, and so they took it all, and then we got up on stage and played some rock and roll. with a very pretend smile for a while until
Wow.
it was real.
And no mafia story then?
Therapy.
No,
Mm,
no mafia story?
Do you want another story?
I was just going to say,
What-
you want to add to it or not? That's cool. It's up to you.
I'll try and tell it quickly, I suppose. Well, I was in Italy, and the language barrier was quite big, and so we've been getting ready for this gig. So we go to this big, massive castle-looking place, and they've got all this different food laid out outside, and then there's inside, and there's bands at every different area. Look, nothing went down, but the thing is, I didn't know I was playing at a mafia wedding until later in the night. One of the Italian members who spoke a bit of English, there were like hundreds of people there, lots of money, lots of food, lots of music, and he said, "Do you realise we're playing at a mafia wedding?" So, yeah.
Germany is rough.
Said, no, I did not.
Before we go to Fiona, I did with my sister years ago. We played we didn't know it was actually a bikie venue. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I never understood why I got like prepaid like 3 months before the gig. And when we got there, we set up. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And anyway, thank you very much. Good night. They said, no, it's not. I said, okay, cool. Back on. Here we go again. Let's do another set. So so that was the longest 8-hour gig I've ever done. Yeah. So yeah.
8 hours.
So Fiona, any more rock and roll stories? I mean, the last one was pretty good.
I've done 11.
Wow.
there's a lot of rock and roll stories, but I must say that, of course, playing in the blues scene exclusively from the get-go, we found that actually the bikers were a great crowd, and I must say that when we got started, I started off in coffee shops playing solo acoustic, finger-picking country blues, but then by the time I was playing with the Mojos, which was an all-girl band, and it was interesting because we pretty much had a monopoly on all the female blues players in the scene in Melbourne, and we were, I guess, fledgling players, but we decided that we knew each other from going to see a lot of gigs, and we were all passionate about music, and so we realised that the harmonica. There was a comment earlier about female harmonica players, and I've got to say
yes.
Kaz De La Rosa, who has been my partner in crime for many years, was really the impetus behind starting the Mojos as a band in Melbourne, and she played harp.
Steve.
Yeah,
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah, and Kaz, great harmonica player. We were all fledgling when we got started. I hadn't actually played electric guitar. I'd played acoustic, and I thought, well, I'm going to look like an idiot playing acoustic with a band. I better borrow an electric. So I borrowed an electric, but because I'd been playing acoustic country blues, where you're trying to be a one-man band, you're trying to do that style is quite demanding. You're trying to do bits of fill, bits of rhythm, and bits of lead at the same time. It doesn't relate very well to your job as a guitarist in an electric band. So then I had a whole new learning curve, as did Kaz. She started as a straight diatonic blues harmonica player, ended up moving to lots of different positions, ended up playing great chromatic harmonica as well. We did a lot of swing sort of stuff with head melodies on chromatic harmonica. So it was an interesting band, but we must have played every sticky carpeted pub in the city of Melbourne. We really played. We even played some places where we kept getting back there, and we didn't even know how we got the gig. At the Sydenham Hotel, which was also known as the Richmond Tavern, there was a stabbing in the car park one night. Anyway, and we were just a bunch of gals, and we had to fight pretty hard to get paid and to get respect, and we all stuck together. But we did have, again, like Leisha, I'm stuck between overseas stories where there's been many, or just like going back to the roots of playing the sticky carpeted pubs. And I think probably the one time I got knocked out at a gig is where I'm going to go now, and that was
Did Vanessa?
So we were playing a couple of them. One was playing at an inner city pub in Melbourne, where of course you're all jammed in. There is no stage, so you're in the corner of the pub on the carpet, and the band's all there. And there was tables quite close to the band, and it was packed. In these pandemic days, it's insane. We're all packed in there playing. And so there was this one guy, and look, I hate to say it, but the drunk suit is often worse than anybody else. So there's one guy, he's quite well dressed, he's a professional guy, he's in a suit. He's dancing on the table, and you can see that it's going to end in tears. And he's getting more and more drunk. And at one point, he just ended out like doing this crazy Watusi, and of course he loses it, falls off the pub table, and I can see him coming at me, and so in those days I used to always think, well, if people dance too close, you can always use your headstock of your guitar to prod them in the kidneys, sort of drive them back to your space.
Oh my God.
Okay. But this,
kidney
he
shot.
was actually coming. He was coming from a height at me, and all I could do was back away. And of course, as I'm backing away from the microphone, he hits the microphone, and it just goes bonk, and it hit me right between the eyes, and I went down on the hot carpet. And I redistributed the drum kit, we're all snuggled in, so the drummer was just behind me. I redistributed the drum kit with my body, and I came to on the pub carpet I played a very ratty, messed with Frankenstein of an old 68 telly in those days, and I had my telly was still strapped to me, and I was just lying on the pub carpet seeing stars, and someone just went, "Come on, keep playing." So I got up and called for some ice, and we played out the set. Look,
keep going.
I had 2 black eyes the next day. So there you go.
Wow. You're the first person I've known who's been knocked out on stage. Wow.
It's like a dangerous sport.
It is dangerous sport, It's not for ladies. It's not for ladies, is it?
Oh, right. So you're getting back to I love the rock and roll story. So if you could do it all again, so maybe Cheryl, what would you have done differently starting out?
Absolutely nothing, really.
So you enjoyed the whole ride?
Yeah, it's a good ride. Good ride. Can't complain. Maybe got myself out there more.
Okay, well, that's good. So about being confident, in what way would you have got yourself out there?
Oh, I don't know, do some more recording and just sort of try and self-promote more. So I'm here tonight. So, leaving me run a bit late now. I'm in my 50s.
It's never too late. It's never too late. Yeah. That's great. And, so anything else you want to add to that? What you would do differently? Did you think about, like, how you would market yourself? Or
I have no idea how to even go about it, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Just ask it. And maybe Anne, if you could do it all again, would you do something different?
I don't know if I would. I'm sort of pretty happy with how I've gone about things. I think I've picked up more of the songwriting and going into the different genres, and maybe if I sort of stuck more to one genre, I tend to sort of play around with a few different ones. So maybe if I sort of just, maybe a bit more with the theory, because I tend to sort of play by ear. But I think I like that idea, and that's what's probably taken me to the different genres. I guess if I stuck with one thing, I wouldn't be able to sort of open myself out to listen to other things. So I get influences from all sorts of different things. I can't say there's one particular influence that drives me to do what I do. I tend to try and keep my music pretty much me, and not trying to make it sound. As soon as someone says, "Oh, that sounds like a Bob Dylan song," I go, "Oh shit, change it." Not only that, any disrespect whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. I love Bob Dylan. I love all musicians, all the big stars. But I just like to try and get something that's just kind of me, So I guess it would be try to market myself better as one particular thing. That would be, if I had to change anything, that's what I would do. I would market myself differently. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And with so marketing, if we unpack that a little bit, would you get different photo shoots done? Would you make different product just for other people who are watching tonight? So these are the little nuggets that, may help shape someone's career right now. So that's why I'm asking.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I guess so. Yeah. I guess it would just be getting a certain genre so that people know when they hear a song, they relate it to you, so getting that particular style down, and then keeping with, I guess, my husband and I, we're in a duo called Goody Two Shoes, and we're doing this kind of we wear sort of the top hat thing, and we dress nicely. He wears a nice suit with a tie, and it's, and it's a good look, and I think that's working well. It's giving us a bit of a style with that. So, I guess it's just about trying to just hone in on one particular look that people can recognise you as that. I think
Okay.
would be a good thing for anyone getting into it, yeah.
Okay, cool. And if we go to Vanessa, if you could do it all again, what would you do different? Would you sing different songs down in Tamworth, fronting a band?
Tamworth is a bit of a mixture, really. But no, like starting out, I started with the rock and roll stuff, and then I, went to the 80s stuff, and played around with lots of stuff, but always came back to my roots, which was country music, and that's me. And I think you look out there and you go, oh, this is popular at the moment, let's go and do that. But it didn't really suit me, but I tried it anyway. So I think if anybody's starting out, my advice is just stick to what you love and don't get sort of sidelined into doing things that you think people are going to want you to do.
Yeah.
Stay true to yourself and build your brand, so that would be my advice. And, and I'm learning more now than I did. I wish I knew now. Wish I knew back then what I know now with all the marketing and the promotional stuff, and
Right.
it's just take advice and just learn and suck it all in, basically.
Because there's two sides to the coin. This is a really bad example of a coin, but anyway, but Fiona had a coin because there's music and there's music business, and you have to have your head around it. Yeah, that's really good. And what about Licia? What would you do differently if you could do it all again?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed what Anne and Vanessa have said so far. Generally, I'm kind of happy with what I've done, but I guess there's a few decisions I made when I was younger that I would have made differently now, and maybe opportunities that were lost from silly decisions I'd made at the time. For example, I think I was going for this mentorship when I was a fair bit younger, and I might have had a good chance at getting it. I had a really good mentor lined up, and somehow I got swayed at the last minute to go with someone else, which was not a good move. And but I didn't end up getting it anyway. But I always wondered, what if I did? What would have been different? Would my music have been different? Would I be looking different? Would I be playing different style? Like, it's just so funny, sliding doors. So.
Yeah,
but when
right.
it's hard to know how to manage. At any time, it's hard to know how to manage yourself, but particularly when you're younger. So it's nice to have people you can trust. And I think I started heading in my rock roots direction from the Mitchell Creek Rock and Blues Festival. I'm not going to say molded, but I was guided in. Well, hey, you can play electric guitar.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that? And I was doing
that's great, Licia.
other stuff. So I listened to him and another guy. Jules said, just keep pushing that image, and then it's like, all right, well, let's just do that.
Yeah,
and then get really good makeup artists when you do a photo shoot, like someone who works for you, right? Whatever size, whatever shape, whatever age, it doesn't look ridiculous. Hopefully, whatever age and size. Try to it yourself, but
And then, I think that's great because I need to get a new makeup artist because I do my own makeup. It sucks.
Yeah, that's never going to work for me.
And what about Fiona? If you could do it all again, what would you do different, and what advice would you have?
Well, this is an actually really interesting conversation because when I got started, it's actually far enough away that I remember the first band posters that we did. I actually hand cut the silk screen, printed them by hand, and took them out onto the streets to post them up, illegally at night. I actually remember having
been there and done that.
Had the keyboard at gigs.
Been there and done that.
Shit where you actually make photocopied leaflets to do your mail out for the next month with stamps and post them to your mailing list. So, a lot of things have changed. And I'd say there's a couple of things that I think are really important. This is from someone who actually has not had any other job for 25 years apart from playing mostly original, non-mainstream music.
Yeah, well done.
I'm thrilled about the idea that I've never had to agonize about what direction to take musically. I feel that the blues is imbued in me. I have a passion for it. I'm passionate about it, and I'm an advocate for the genre. Because I think it's a much wider genre than a lot of people give it credit for. And so part of my exploration has been acoustic, electric, different regional styles. So I think from a starting point, if you're going to get anywhere, is to stick with it and refuse to go away. That's it. And be passionate about it. It's got to feel vocational, like you're drawn to do it. The business side of stuff, there's a whole lot of savvy stuff that, it's difficult because when you're playing non-mainstream music, it's for jazz, blues, country, roots players, that you're looking for longevity because you're not going to be the next pop sensation probably. But you can play, particularly in the blues scene. I got to play with some of my heroes. I got to play with Pine Top Perkins. He recorded with me. He was still touring internationally. He played with me when he was 96 on that album.
Wow.
And, so
Legend.
the thing is, I'd say, is there anything I would have done differently? I don't know. I think because I'm self-taught and because I'm driven by passion, there is an aspect of learning things as you go. And when you're ready for the next bit of information, you just have to learn. And right now, for example, only a matter of days ago, I did my first online concert, which was a whole learning curve. There's been a bunch of learning curves for musicians, but it has always been like this. When you just come out, all I want to do is sing and play. And then there's the first gig that you turn up to the gig and the sound guy doesn't turn up. And you go, shit, I need to work out. I think this box needs to talk to that box. I think there's a lead that can go. Next thing you know, you've had to learn how to run a PA. And then you can't get an agent that does a good job for you. So you have to learn how to book yourself. And then you have to learn how to be a publicist. And in recent years, you've had to learn how to be a social media publicist. Now you have to learn how to be an online performer as well. So the learning curve, you just have to be passionate and open to the opportunity to learning. Stick with it.
Yeah, I love so many stories you just said then. That was amazing. I was interviewing a friend of mine, Vince, in New York. I got to play with him when I was doing the Steve Vai thing a little while ago and met him over there. I had a chat to him about Lou Parlow, who played in the Les Paul Trio. And we were talking about Les Paul and all the inventions because multi-track recording, which, here's my studio right here. Yeah. Multi-track recording we take for granted. Les Paul came up with. And also, the delay machine and actually recording drum kit individually mic'd. Yeah. Lots of things we take for granted. He did. Anyway, my point of the story is someone was beeping. I don't know what that was, but I hope it wasn't me. Les Paul started out exactly what we're doing here, broadcasting from home. That's my whole story, and also developing a pickup. He told me about the P90 pickup. Les Paul was playing at the back of this bar and he wanted tips, but he noticed that, he was playing jazz acoustically and the front of the bar near the street, people were disengaged. So he actually pulled apart a telephone and developed the P90 pickup, which is in a came out of Les Paul. It's like, what the hell? Like, that's ingenuity. That's amazing.
Get it out there. Yeah.
Yeah. And another, and I've got a question here we'll come back to from Patty in a second, but Fee, you are so living the life, eh? There we go. You got Fiona fans. Feel the same about the blues.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's from Graham. And about the posters, I must say that back when I was doing I'm still doing the originals thing, but when I was in the original scene back in the day, I printed out all these posters and I may have put them in a Telstra phone booth. Anyway, the Brisbane City Council called me and I was like, oh, cool. They said, are you playing at this venue? And I was like, yeah, right. How did you get my number? And anyway, they actually took my poster, read the poster and, called the venue and said, if you do not come and collect all your posters from the Telstra phone boxes, you're going to be issued with a fine. I was like, at least the marketing worked. They got back to me, yeah. So we'll just get to this question from Patty. Maybe Cheryl, do you want to go first? Do you have? So this is all about songwriting, not guitar playing, about the actual songwriting. Do you have any advice for writing lyrics? I have no problem writing songs, so I guess that's the chords. I'm a bit like Anne, recording different genres, but I suck at lyrics. So, how do you lyricist, Cheryl?
Oh, something I know about. Look. You got to write. You got to think about something that you're passionate about, something that you like, something that annoys you, whatever it might be, your loved one, whatever, right? And you got to think of. I always write choruses first. Seriously, I write choruses first, and when I'm pretty good at choruses, I come up with a good chorus. and I'm really like mainstream shit, you know. So what I do is, you know, would probably piss all you fellas off. But anyway, so it's really sort of mainstream chorusy stuff, and then I'll write a verse. Like I start playing with words and ideas with the verse, and it doesn't have to rhyme. Just jot all the words down and come up. It may not exactly say what you wanted to say, but if it works, who cares? And then you've got to work on a bridge. You've got to work on your middle eight or your bridge, and that will just take you off a little bit to the one side, maybe twist the idea a little bit of what you're trying to say, and then come back in on your chorus and verse. That's how I sort of do it.
And with the songwriting, Cheryl, have you like developed this strategy by yourself, or are you following someone else's? Have you studied anywhere or anything like that?
When I was only a young kid, I'm completely self-educated and self-taught on the guitar.
There's a compliment for you, Cheryl. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Catherine. No, well, I'm completely self-taught in every way. But I thought I need to learn how to do this. I really want to do this. And I didn't know many like other people's songs covers. So I wanted to play, but I just wanted to play anything. I didn't care what it was.
Right.
So I went and I got books from the library on how to write a song.
That's great.
And I studied Gene Pitney actually and Neil Sedaka deeply.
Yeah.
And not that I loved their music or anything, but they just kept referencing those guys and how they constructed songs and music. And I just followed that. It seems to be a winning path. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah.
If I could just get some of them out there, I'd probably do well.
I like how you said you studied someone, because being a musician, I'm actually a music teacher as well. But being a musician, there's this thing that happens called, master and apprentice. So even when you study and unbolt someone's 3-minute song, whatever genre, that 3 minutes is the summarization of hundreds of hours of work, of decisions being made, rhythm section, how's the rhythm sitting underneath? Does it contrast? Does it complement? How are you going to create the chalk and cheese in the chorus, blah, blah, blah. But music as itself is its own teacher. And I really like what you said. Even though you may have not studied formally, you've unpacked someone else's art. So I think that's good. Yeah. And Anne, what about you for writing lyrics? How do you write number one hits?
Like Cheryl said, I think you've got to have that. I tend to get the guitar first. Sorry, I tend to I get something going with the guitar. I get the chords going, and I just hear something, and I just think, right, okay, it starts there, and then I have to come up. And I actually wrote a song called what do I do? Like I've got this full thing, and I've got no idea of what to write about, but I had this sort of cool idea. And then I decided to write a song about writing a song. So it's, what's the name of the song? But it's a song about writing a song. And the whole lyric is just about writing a song. It's about talking, right, well, here I am at the bridge, and then I'm coming. It's called Words. The song's actually called Words, and I'll play it to you guys one day. But and it went on an album. But I thought, okay, here I sit. And it was just what was up there. I was sitting at the pool. I thought, okay, here I sit with a pen in my hand. I look up to the sides if it would understand. And then it just kind of flew from there. It carried on from there. So I think once you actually start, for anyone starting out, once you start with an idea and you can sort of make up your story, it's really just like you can start a novel by doing the same thing. It's just writing a story. And as long as, I guess, you've got the syllables right in the words that you're putting down that matches the phrases of what you're writing, to the chords, you've got a song there. It's just coming up with the ideas of the story of the song and then putting it through to match the music. That's how I do it. Anyway.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, with teaching songwriting to students, I teach them this principle, who, what, when, where, why, and how. And I stole this from Pat Patterson, who teaches songwriting at Berkeley. And it's because I did some courses there, blah, blah, blah. He's a legend. So if anyone's out there, look up Pat Patterson. He's a writing ninja. He co-writes with John Mayer, was one of his students. Aerosmith, the list goes on. That's just what I can think on top of my head. Anyway, the first verse is the who, the what, and the how, and the why. So Great. And then anyway, that's level 1. 5 things or 6 things. Who, how, what, what, and then there's a how. The why is always the chorus, but the so I'm going to get to Vanessa in a second. But a great song I use is Hotel California, because the next level of songwriting is you add in the 5 senses, right? Because and then this concept of called show, then tell. So every movie you see, they have a wide shot that says, "Hey, we're on a desert, on a dark desert highway, cool under my hair," and then so that's a feeling, that's a sense. Warm smell of colitas, they're using another sense. Yeah. Anyway, it's a great example. I'm probably elaborating on it now, but that's what I use: 5 senses, and then the who, what, when, when. But anyway. Vanessa, how do you write a number 1 hit? Do you turn the sirens on, or?
It could be very interesting, couldn't it? Yeah, very interesting. No, exactly. No, I have to admit, no, it's all good. It's actually very interesting listening to all you guys telling me how you write your songs, because I'm very green in this area, and I really haven't written that many. But it comes back to the fact that it's a story, and you've got to start somewhere. You come up with an idea. There's been many things that I've written down and, have come back to and have sort of never finished it. But, I think there's a song that I sang on stage at one of our musters up here, and it was a Melinda Snyder song. It was called The Story of My Life. And my dad yelled out from the audience, said, "Man, you're going to have many chapters in that story." And I went, "Well, there you go. There's somewhere to start with. Start with an idea and just write it down and go from there." But I love all your ideas of how you guys write songs, because it teaches. It's helping me as well. So we're all sharing those ideas.
And do you have like a journal or a diary to record your ideas, or do you just track it on your iPhone, a melodic idea or a guitar idea? How do you
I have a diary like that. I haven't written in anything lately, but I've moved quite a bit since I've been in the police force, so it's packed in a box somewhere, but it is all
That's
there.
amazing,
amazing. So
Yeah.
Keep it all together.
And does the music come first or the lyrics come first for you?
Lyrics. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good.
Definitely.
And any other songwriting tips, like any tips for stealing stuff from other people?
Oh, no, I think, you've got to sort of, you do get ideas from other songs which influence you, but then make them your own, sort of play around with it and make them your own as well. Yeah.
So you said it the politically correct way. Influence. Okay.
See, my training.
Very good.
Right.
So, Licia, how do you lyrics to lyric or not to lyric? What does that process look like from you?
Well, being a guitarist first, I like lyrics, but it always takes a fair bit longer. I've got quite a few journals. I imagine a lot of us do. I'm looking at about 15, and I sort of switch between them. But at the moment, I'm sort of using 3 journals. So I'll journal in one, and then I might start writing a bit of a song in the next one, and then start drafting it in the third one, and then I'll come back and so that's one. But or read lyrics from songs that you really like. Like I remember really analysing some Crowded House lyrics and. Just the imagery and recently Don Walker, like for example, this first line in The Perfect Crime: "The summer lightning flicks in sheets, the negative reveals." Like I had to read that line over quite a few times because it just said so much. The summer lightning flicks in sheets, the negative reveals.
So it's
saying
flick and sheet. At the end of that word has a strong consonant. K and T. That's great.
Yeah.
That's like reverse alliteration. Yeah. Sorry, this is the teacher nerd coming out. That's great.
Yeah, nice. It seems that there's always another angle, isn't there? Yeah. And the imagery that creates, like I can just see the lightning and it's just like set up this whole thing. But, he's a genius.
Yeah.
So definitely reading lyrics, reading books, reading different stuff.
Thanks,
I'm not
Greg.
the greatest reader, but... Oh, sorry. Yes. Try and have a play on words. Heartfelt is good, passion's good, stuff you guys were saying before. I'm trying to simplify things a little more, because when I was younger, I'd try and cram the whole story into the song, and it's like, well, you don't really need to, because people understand more than you realise, even with just less words.
That's
so
probably the hardest part, isn't it? Trying to condense what you've got.
Yeah,
It's
don't
probably
ramble.
Totally.
Whatever you do, don't ramble.
Yeah.
No,
I think
Nothing worse than rambling.
Sorry. I'm
Yeah,
rambling.
I think a good example of that is the opening lyrics to Black Fingernails, Red Wine. So this concept it's called show and tell. You're not telling what's happening, you're showing black fingernails and red wine, and then you can make up whatever that means to you. But anyway, that was another example I teach kids how to write songs with. But that's good, Lisa. Yeah, that's awesome. I like the whole journaling concept. And what about for music? Because I take forever to decide on a riff. Does it sound too majory? I want some more tension. How do you go with editing? Maybe I'm getting off the topic of the question, but that means a lot to the lyric for me. So if I'm writing an aggressive song, I will change the music to match the lyric, then I'll change the lyric and I'll change back the music, like it's a never-ending situation. Does that happen for you as well?
For me, yeah. You're talking to me still, aren't you?
Yes, sorry.
I guess it depends on the song. Each song's different. I'd probably, when I was younger again, would put too many, musical changes and stuff in there. And I still want to keep some sort of bit of me in songs, but I want to simplify them as well. So, yes, I can overcomplicate things, but as I get older, I'm trying to simplify and just maybe write a song with less chords. But,
Wow.
I don't want to be too boring. Not that that's boring, because, look at the Beatles and, all those 3-chord songs. And I did some co-writing in the last
Keep it
Less is
simple.
more.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, that's as well, yes. And I'm really happy. I finally wrote a 1-chord song, which will, eventually be on
That's
Chain
it.
of Fools.
the next
Chain of
album.
Fools, a 1-chord
Chain of
song.
Fools,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
1-chord song.
It says here, speaking of lyrics, do any of you find... Oh, actually, I'll come to that question in a second. We'll just speak to Fiona first, because you're actually an international superstar winning, multiple international awards. So you probably have this songwriting situation down pat. So how do you lyric or not to lyric?
Oh, look, I know a lot of people, a lot of songwriters who always do it the same way. And for me, there is no set way. I've written songs that have come out of exploring a new instrument, a bass line, a cool groove, exploring a different new regional style of blues music, or it comes out of a cool lyric. So, and that's the other thing. Blues is such a stretchy genre that you can have a lot of fun. There's the early blues in the 1920s had a lot of ragtime changes, a lot of double entendre stuff, which is really sassy. So then I've written songs which come out of those double entendres, things like I'm going to drink to your health until I ruin my own. And ain't nothing wrong. And my
That's the
husband
best lyric ever.
Write it down.
on the Blues for Hard Times album.
Influence.
Or things like, my husband woke up one morning complaining of being old and stiff, and he was kind of whinging and rubbing his back. And I went, old and stiff, that is gold. So I wrote a classic era women's blues song, which is like, ain't nothing wrong with a man who was old and stiff. And so it's fun, it's a fun song. So I think what blues does is that it's an interesting, tantalizing tension. When you're songwriting in a genre that has a tradition, you've got to bring yourself to it and your own story, but you've also got to write within the parameters that make you understand where the song belongs and fits. But I like that creative tension. And there's different starting points. Someone in the comments was asking about getting started with lyrics, and it was funny because I've most of my 13 odd albums are predominantly original material. I tend to just have a couple of covers in there to give my own original songs context, and maybe a couple of songs from classic traditional players. But I hadn't really thought much about the process, and then I was asked. I was going to teach acoustic fingerpicking guitar at a teaching camp in America, and they asked me to put together a songwriting course because the students had been asking for that. And I just went yes to get the gig, but then I had to actually go, shit, I have to write a course for a week that does this. And it was fascinating because there was a lot of things, like I noticed that Anne was talking about the story and about how words scan, which is really important.
That was
And
good,
I think,
Anne, yeah.
and I think in some ways, Cheryl and Doug, you were going more to the music and the arrangement. So where's the bridge? Where's the chorus? Where's that? But I think for the person who was asking about lyrics, it was really funny because, again, like Cheryl, I did a bit of reading to reflect on my own experience. And I came up with this series of dot points about lyric writing specifically. And it was, what do you want to say? I mean, this sounds self-evident, but what do you want to say? How can you best say that?
Yep.
What are the best words to express it?
Yep.
And is a shorter word or less words better?
Yep.
Now, this worked perfectly for my blues, because I was teaching blues songwriting, okay. And this worked perfectly. And you know who wrote those dot points? It was a summary from an essay I read by that great old blues man, George Orwell, who wrote an essay, I think in the mid-40s, about how to write the most effective political speech. And it was how to reduce things down to its essence, and that was how you would make the most effective political speech to state your points. And you know what? They're actually really good guidelines for songwriting, I found.
Any kind of writing, yeah.
Any kind of writing. And I think because songwriting is the same as any good writing. And the one other point I might suggest for whoever asked about the lyrics is, if you can't get started, another great tradition in the blues world is the answer song. It's kind of been taken over by the rap and hip hop and house people, but back in the day, take a song that you really love and look at it and then go, okay, let's take the whole premise of the song and maybe rewrite it from my point of view, or from, if it's sung by a man, maybe take it from the man's point of view, or a woman's point of view, or so the answer song can be a good starting point if you're stuck as a fledgling lyricist and want to
practice.
Just get started with something.
And we've got a few comments here. So Dom says it's about what the song wants, not what you want.
Yeah, sometimes. It took me a long, long time, because I was coming from originally the acoustic blues ragtime tradition, where there's often a lot of changes and there's a lot of melody. Like Leisha, it took me a couple of decades to creep up on embracing Mississippi Hills, trance blues and cigar box, where there's no changes, there's just groove.
Yeah, right.
Love groove, yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, but it's all good, and sometimes when I'm writing, I just go, okay, I can hear this song is wanting to go into an old style, so I think it will be an acoustic song, or this wants to be funky, so I might play it on baritone and take it to the band. You get a sense of what the song wants. Yeah,
groove is everything. Yeah. I really think groove is everything.
Yeah, I have a point here, Cheryl. Do you want to answer that one? Speaking of lyrics, do any of you find that years later your own song means something entirely different to you, or when you wrote it, or is it just me?
Nah, I agree. Yeah, it can mean completely a different thing altogether. I wrote one called Together in Heaven when I was 16, and it's a whole different. I've actually modernised it and renovated it because I didn't like it anymore.
Put a new kitchen in it. That's good.
Absolutely, yeah. New sink, taps, tiles, the whole works.
And what about Anne? Have you reworked or renovated? That's a new lingo. Thanks, Cheryl. I'm going to steal that.
I think it's great. Isn't
how to renovate the song?
Renovate that bridge.
Yeah.
I think it's a marking time. I tend to leave them alone when they're like that. But we have done, we did a song called Days in the Sun years ago. And it was my husband. He had a bad back and he was at home for a while. When I was working, I came home and he was playing around with his bass player. And he came up with this fabulous bass line. And we wrote this song pretty much in an afternoon when I got home. And we took it to a recording guy that was a friend of ours, and he recorded it. And it's very 80s. It was back in the 80s when we wrote it. And then we've since done it again, and we tried an actual reggae version of it. And I didn't mind it. It was very fast. It was a real poppy kind of beat, and we tried to sort of do a different sort of thing on it. And then we all looked at each other and went, nah. We started liking it as we were doing it. We thought, oh, this is a bit of on the edge, we can get in the sun, Jim in the days in the sun. We got together on the fan, having fun, working hard, but it's da 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 da. That's the original. So we played around with this reggae and we actually started getting excited about it. And then we sort of thought, okay, let's have another listen to that. And we just, you don't change that.
Yeah.
It's got to stay where it is. The other songs, I think, for me, it seems to mark time. So I've only ever written one album. I'm sort of doing one now that's a little bit more blues sort of driven. But the one that I first did, it's called Then, Now and Tomorrow. And it's literally just it's all about family. It's all about the kids growing up and leaving home. It's very referenced to the time. And I think I like to leave those pretty much as they are. Yeah.
Wow. I really like what you were saying there. For me, I have this whole fresh ears thing. I mean, I didn't invent this, but like every day you have fresh ears only once. And I remember going into a studio in Memphis with the Jason Gillespie guy, who's a Grammy Award winning producer. Not that means anything, but it was just I was interested in process. I'm always unbolting process. If you want great crops, what are you going to do? You're going to look at the process of how they grow, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so fresh ears. So for me, if I know a song is awesome, does it move me the next day? Does it actually pull me out of, do I feel that emotion musically? And then I started this other thing of actually playing at different times of the day because we are all emotional beings. Does it move my emotions in the morning? Does it move it at lunchtime? At night? Anyway, that's just my process of it. But Vanessa, lyrics. So this question here I'll put up again. Speaking of lyrics, do any of you find that years later it means something different to you?
As I say, I'm very green to writing original music, and I haven't done that much of it because I've been working and stuff. But I think back to what some of the stuff that I did write when I was younger that I've really done nothing to. If I read it now, I'd go, yeah, I would keep it the same because it meant something then. That's what I was writing it about. So, and because I haven't put it to music as yet, I couldn't say that I would change anything. But I just think, when you think of something, it comes up and you write it and you record it, and then it loses its originality as well. Like if you start changing it around, but it's a personal experience too, I guess. So yeah,
I really like what you said. It loses its originality because sometimes when you in that frame of mind, that's what transmutes.
Yeah,
from that point
and
in time.
it's probably singing covers. I always search for different versions, but you know what? You always come back to that original way it was done, pretty much. Like, you can't beat the way it was originally recorded. But even though there's some different versions of it, you will always come back to the one that was originally written. So yeah,
that's awesome.
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Otherwise, they get arrested. No, just kidding. Licia, when you listen to songs, does it change the way? Yeah, as you get older. Must be difficult being 24 and a songwriter. So.
Right. I haven't lived yet. Well, I guess there's some songs that I would not sing anymore that I wrote, all those years ago because
renovation.
I sold that house and moved on.
Yes.
I enjoyed living in it then, and I'm going to get to the next few units and house. But I don't think the meaning changed as much. Sorry, Doug.
No, it's good. I'm just laughing at Cheryl. Sorry. I mean, with Cheryl.
Yes, thank you.
I like that. Yeah. So I guess the meanings were generally the same. Maybe they were about a situation, and I might remember what it was about, or I'm just looking back through songs that I had written. So I don't think they've definitely necessarily changed, but yeah, there's some I would not sing anymore anyway, and I prefer to move forward.
So this is interesting, though, Licia. So I'm just going to name drop Rob Thomas. I got to work on his tour in what's the city under New York? I can't remember the name. Atlantic City or whatever. Anyway, I spoke to him about his song 3 a.m. He wrote that when he was 19 years old. He is like in his mid 40s now, 20 plus years later, and he still has to play it at every gig. And, you know, he still sings it amazingly, but is he completely passionate about it? I asked him about it. He goes, if I could do my time again, maybe he would have written something different, you know. But there's a few songs. But I'm just saying, in your case, Alicia, you've got some awesome followers that's happening. You know, people request some of your original material. So
that's true. I get requested stuff. I don't remember how to play anymore. And, yeah, I'm sure you all do. And it's like, oh, I'll give it a go. And it's like, oh gosh, that was terrible.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay, so there is that compromising times do happen when your fans ask you to do something off your second record.
Well, but then it's like if they liked it, well, maybe it wasn't as bad as I'm imagining. So,
we're all our own worst critic.
We are. Yes, feedback is interesting to hear.
But I guess you'd be a Bunnings, what do you call it? Expat. You could be a guru at renovating. So you know.
That's right. Aisle 10. Aisle 7.
So Fiona, lyrics. Does songs mean something different to you as you get older?
No, I don't think so. But I do agree that some songs go to the renovation stage. Some songs, it's amazing.
Thank you.
Because I'm actually just in the process of writing liner notes to reissue the first acoustic album I made under my own name. So it's coming out later this year, and I've got it signed in America, and it's Blues in My Heart. And I recorded it in 2000. So it's 20-year anniversary in 2020. Wow. And I'm revisiting that repertoire, and there are some covers in there, but there's also some of my first originals in there. And you know what? I think this is part of what blues does really well, is that if it feels right and it sits right, what you try and do with blues, again, this comes back to, I think, something that I think almost everybody said in the songwriting thing was, sometimes less words. The thing with blues is that quite often if it's too complicated, you need to knock it back to the essentials, because what you want to do is take something that's quite personal and hopefully render it in language that makes it universal, so that other people can hear that song and go, that happened to me. Yeah. Even though it didn't happen to them, when you sit down and have a drink afterwards, you find out that their experience is different from you. But the essence of the story, or the essence of the truth of the feeling, is there. And I'm actually quite surprised to find that the songs and the performances are standing up. In fact, because I've gone off and explored other things like the Mississippi Hills and the Chicago stuff, I'm going to have to sit down and get my ragtime chops back up when I launch this album again. But having said that, there's a couple of songs that have been in the repertoire the whole time, and then other songs that, of course, you go to the next gig and you play the songs off the new album because you're trying to sell the new album and promote the new album, and that goes through the cycle. But I have I've only re-recorded a handful of songs, 2 or 3, and it's interesting because I took something that was, a basic acoustic song, but then I renovated. Yeah, I was searching for renovated. No, I was searching for rearranged and not finding it. I rearranged it then as a song for slide cigar box when I was first learning to play that instrument. So it was a way of kind of freshening up the song and in a whole new way, because it was on a different instrument in a different tuning. Right. So sometimes that can be a fun way of revisiting your songs.
That's good. So we'll just do maybe one more question, and then we'll be out. So if anyone's watching,
got to go into a gig, doesn't she?
What's it? Yeah. Oh, when do you have to go, Vanessa?
Oh yeah.
Whenever you're ready, I'm okay. It's all good. It's only live, so they're all hanging in the background watching this, waiting for me. So it's all good.
Okay, cool. Okay, sorry. I don't want you to call your mates up, and start a renovation. So so maybe one more question. Anyone watching live, if you want to have any questions, please ask right now. Otherwise, we'll have to wait next time. So maybe if we just go one more round again about what you're actually working on now to be, artist in development, because I really appreciate what you've all shared about the actual practice of songwriting. you actually have to practice finishing it. And I remember Michael Badio. He's the guy that plays the two thing. His theme is just did it, not just do it, but just did it. It has to be finished. If you actually practice finishing instead of practice starting, it'll translate into other things in your other life. So, Cheryl, what are you actually working on now as being an original artist? Anything you're actively working on right now? Like, if it's product or, image, product as recordings or, maybe marketing online. I don't know, whatever you might be working on or you want to work on.
I'm just happy to have gigs, but
okay.
no, seriously, I'm working on a bit of music. I've got quite a few. At the moment, I've been stuck with doing riffs and feels in music, and really stumbling on the lyric side of things. So I want to get those. I wish I had. I wish somebody earlier asked, "Do you ever collaborate when you get stuck?" I wish I had someone to collaborate. I wish I had someone to collaborate with, because it can get quite frustrating.
And this is my mum who's just asked a question. She actually gave me this random cup that I've actually used for the second time. So maybe, Cheryl, do you want to start with this? We'll tie this in. And how do you stay inspired while you're in lockdown? So what are you working on, and how do you stay inspired whilst in lockdown? Because as you just said, you can't really collaborate in person at the moment.
No.
Yeah. How do you stay inspired?
Hard. I don't know how people are dealing with their mental health. But Anne would know. I had a meltdown on Facebook the other night.
Sorry for laughing. Sorry.
No, I laugh now.
Okay, cool.
But it's hard. And I miss my band. I miss the Wise Men. That's the band that I play with, Cheryl Hall and the Wise Men. And we play all kinds of genre. We play jazz, we play Latin jazz, we play country, we play blues. We play all of it. We can't seem to nail anything, but we get a groove that's ours with all the genres that we do. And that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to stay tight. I'm trying to post a lot of stuff on our private page for the guys to be working on whilst we're apart. But that's what we're working on at the moment.
That's good. I like what you just said. You have a private page. Yeah, that's. When I say that, I mean for the band. Sorry. Hi, everyone. Have new music in the works. Hard to rock. Amy is doing an amazing job. Melody's not sure how she does it. Jeez, get the knack of it. There we go. And well done, ladies. There we go. Okay, so over to Anne. Thank you, Cheryl. Anne, so just two questions. What are you working on now, and how do you stay inspired?
Well, I've just got into, this is a whole uni degree's worth of information, but it's the new Cubase 10.5. Woohoo!
Wow. Congratulations.
Okay.
That's good.
It's really really exciting and scary at the same time, because I know I've got to sort of put aside what I'm writing at the moment, which I've got quite a lot of stuff there, but I can't afford to go to the studio every time I write a song. So I thought I really need to get him to know how to and it's going to teach me a lot more by getting into the whole software side of it. I've got a little R16 recorder, a little Zoom that I've been using, and that's been great. We've had that for a few years, but I just, it's quite limited. I want to be able to EQ it, and I want to be able to quantize and get some samples and just play around with that, and that's just a whole other kettle of fish. So I'm certainly not bored in isolation, but I'm like Cheryl. I do miss getting out and playing. It's a whole different thing. We did do like a bit of a live stream, my husband and I, and that was a bit of fun. The scariest part, you've got this little, so you go to a gig and you see all these people there, and you know exactly how many people are there. They're walking around, you can sort of pick them out while you're playing. Otherwise, when you do the live stream, you've just got this little box there, you've got no idea how many people are looking at you. We could be thinking, well, there's probably only 2 people, but but there could be 500. You've got no idea.
Yeah.
The scary part about the live stream.
I like what you just said there. So before you're doing the renovating and tooling up, you're learning how to use the tools. I like it.
Yes.
That's good. So Vanessa, 2 things. So what are you working on as an artist, and how are you keeping it relevant during lockdown? Well, actually, you're probably essential services. You're probably not locked down at all.
No, I don't. I don't work in police anymore. That was yeah. I left a long time ago. So you're
Sorry
all
about all the
safe.
jokes.
That's all good. No, that's fine. That's fine. No, but no. I'm actually enjoying lockdown because I'm actually getting to do more than when we're out playing and doing stuff. I'm actually enjoying learning how to do this stuff online and all the
Where's my
process
mum?
behind it.
Yep.
You know, all that
Mum.
social media stuff and promotional stuff, and you know that you tap on but you don't really get into. I'm sort of loving getting stuck into that and how to, you know, get my head around that for when we actually get back out there to do live stuff.
Yeah.
How to actually nail it and make it simple and easy, so you're not like, did that work or did that not work? You know, so
Right.
that's what I'm learning on, is learning all that social media aspect stuff.
Yeah, and fantastic. And I like that process. And I think Licia is just practicing renovating, I think, right now. But,
I love that you love that word. I'm just so happy.
Our work.
I'm stealing it, Cheryl. It's gold. It's gold. So I've been working. Well, I've been working on a sign for the fridge. Step away from the fridge. Well done. You're doing a great job, Vanessa. There you go. Got lots of fans.
Thank you.
So, Licia, how do you? I even forgot the question now. What was the question?
What are you doing
Fine.
during lockdown, love? And how are you staying creative?
Oh, thank you,
well,
Fiona.
Well done, Fiona.
Yeah. Great question. Well, you can stay
Mum's
creative.
watching that.
It's too late.
She shreds too.
Sorry.
Master shredder. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, well, you can stay creative with your music, but you can also stay creative with your content and your marketing. I find that is also creative, a creative outlet. But like tomorrow, I'm doing a live stream at midday. Please feel free to come along.
yes.
I'm doing that sort of thing, and that's been really cool to connect with new people that have never seen me. And even though like the internet's flooded, I thought, well, whatever, I'll just do it when I feel like it. You know, doesn't have to be all the time. Also, a DVD that I worked on with my touring buddy Lani. We worked on this DVD. It's a full-length movie-length DVD of 16 tracks and behind-the-scenes footage. We finally put it up online, and thank you. It took us quite a while, and so if you look up Lani and Licia on Facebook, or I'll share some links later. It's a really fun DVD, and it's available half price leading up to Mother's Day. So if anyone wants to buy that, I'm working on songwriting bits and pieces. I've got this 4-string guitar, which I'm really enjoying, and someone lent me a banjo, so I'm trying to learn banjo. And so songwriting, and I'm doing a walk and talk every Wednesday at 4 p.m. just to connect with people and share whatever I know with anyone who's interested, and just spark conversation. And if I don't know the answer, I'll send them on to somewhere else. And I mentioned tonight's stream as well. So I've also been learning a lot on YouTube and being inspired by other artists like yourself are doing. And
Really? Oh, thank you.
Good on you, Catherine. Thank you for buying that DVD. Yeah, cool. So, and I'm also trying to learn how to use Final Cut Pro just to put some, very basic videos up online of gigs and stuff, but try and make the audio clear because it's more about the audio. And also getting a film clip nearly finished, and that single should be mixed maybe today. I've got to check with Jason. But and then lead up promotion for that. So there's there's a lot going on. So. I wouldn't mind a nap, actually.
Well, that's amazing. I'm glad I asked. And does anyone know when Mother's Day is?
Next
Sunday.
Sunday.
This Sunday.
Cool.
It's in 4 days' time.
Yeah,
On
4 days
Sunday.
4 days' time.
So
4 days, everybody.
I've got to go and find another strange cup to give my mum. Anyway, so Fiona, you know what this question is?
Indeed, I do know what the question is. I've been taking abreast of the conversation. Look, I'm a bit like you. I just I've been on the road so much, and I love it and I adore it. And this year was shaping up to be very busy. I should have in a few weeks' time being heading off to tour dates in America and Canada and Norway later in the year. So.
Wow,
As well as domestic touring. So it's such a shame, and I'm sad about that. And I love touring, and I love for me, it's all about the audience. So I want to do my best for an audience, and it's very difficult to. I just did my first ever live stream show on Friday, and I was actually, so go check. I'm not sure I'll leave it up for too long, but it's up there right now on my Facebook page. You can see there, and I had a ball. And the preacher, my husband, does photobomb me with fish at the end, so watch out for that.
Okay.
So I spent.
Fiona. Oh,
Yeah.
just remind everybody of your Facebook page so as I can go and find it.
Okay, Facebook Fiona Boys music page. You'll also find it on Fiona Boys on Facebook. Fiona Boys. I have a profile and a page and
You've
a
got
website.
a roadie too. There's a roadie for you.
I love it. Thank you, John. No worries, Kui. I've got it. And I also have an Instagram. So yeah, while I've been in lockdown, I actually realised, well, I've been isolated. I'm here by myself, so I'm in a small town. I don't have any partners in crime, but I do a lot of solo stuff anyway. So I was doing a lot of research into how to make my first live stream look and sound the best I could, and wrangle the technology because I'd never done it. I've also been starting to make my own little weird ass iPad movies as film clips for some of my songs. So I started a YouTube channel. I'm continuing to write. I've just been swapping some demos with my drummer in Melbourne for a new idea for doing a two-man wrecking crew, just drums, percussion, and cigar box, sort of like a filthy outfit, doing that. So, and I'm still talking with the Americans about getting this reissue out in the next couple of months and writing towards new albums, but that's always happening. But what I'm finding is that normally I always have way too many creative projects, but I mean, realizing how much the traveling was taking out of me.
Oh, we just lost you.
A website.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
I also built a website for my artwork and for my husband's functional wood art. So yeah, it's been an incredibly creative time. I actually don't understand people who just go, I'm so bored and I'm binging on Netflix. It's been a very busy and creative time, and I'm trying to really treasure it. Because I love being on the road, but it's nice being home. So, yeah, I'm actually thinking it must be 1 o'clock. Thank you, Raymond.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Does everyone have their coffee cups? Or, I mean, who's got show us your cups?
Mine's empty, damn it. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for asking, Cheryl. I'm all over social media or FionaBoys.com. You can find all my many CDs. I also have vinyl for the first time. My new album, Voodoo in the Shadows, that's the CD version.
Wow.
But I actually have a limited edition vinyl for the first time. I'm very excited about.
Yeah, very good. Well,
oh God, that gin's good.
We should make you go, Vanessa.
This is my record. So yeah, we got to let Vanessa go. We got to let her go. Just sort out Kraken. But I just so if everyone can wave. So thank you very much for watching. Please, I'll get the girls to
Thank you so much.
Put all their comments in the bottom.
Bill. Nice to meet you.
And there we go. And cool. They put their links up. So if everyone can put their links up, but just stay on the line for 20 seconds. I'll just pull you from the feed for a second. Here we go. And so thank you very much for watching Make Some Noise with Doug DeJong. That would be me. And please make sure you like and subscribe. Really need lots of likes and lots of subscriptions. And plus all the artists on tonight, amazing stories. And there's some great tips. So please share it around, because hopefully this is inspiring other people to push forward Aussie music, because I can't believe Fiona's playing overseas like that. It's amazing. Anyway, see you next time.